there, but the Hangout just started, so I'm happy to take questions. And I'm Yateen Suman. With me is Manoj Vilela. We are the student lead coordinators. In some sense, we are leading the entire pre-hackathon event at ISB, and we've been doing this for almost now 1 month or more than a month, right, Manoj?
We've been working on this for more than a month.
Yeah, and the interesting part is that we are just a couple of days away from the big event at ISB. I'm sure most of you are aware of the process that is there on the website as well. The 3-stage process. The first stage involves the online submissions. So we are at that stage right now. The online submissions have been made, and I'm very pleased to say that we have around 390 registrations, but around 250 submissions. Which means that we'll have around 50 to 70 teams shortlisted based on the final jury decision that we are waiting from some of the jury members. So the event is going to be a 36-hour hackathon on 27 and 28. That's
Saturday
and Sunday. Yeah.
This weekend.
This weekend. So.
And the results for the online submission should be out before 11 p.m. today.
Yeah. So it required a lot of. There was a lot of. It was very difficult to decide which entry to select because some brilliant entries that we had, and very glad we shared this feedback with a lot of other people as well in terms of kind of entries that we had. So by and large, this event is. This event is essentially aimed at some practical, feasible solution to the urban, local governments, the urban issues in some sense. They may be roads, infrastructure. You also have you can have waste management, and all the areas of focus. The 12 areas of focus that we listed out on the website. And even though most of the entries that we received were within the gamut or within the framework of those areas of focus, but of course there were many that were beyond the areas of focus, which means that it's very difficult for us to consider those entries simply because they don't, they're not within those areas of change, if you will, or the areas of interest, if you will. So I think the jury has probably decided to take it over. I'm happy to take questions if anybody is. Yeah, so I think most of you have a common question. It just started. The Hangout has started, as you can see. I've been speaking for quite a while now. A while means like 3 minutes, maybe. So the common question across most of the participants is that when are the results going to be out? Now, I do agree that we had put up on the website that the results are going to be out on 24th, and I can see that's a common concern. The reason why it's got postponed by a day, that is, we're going to take the results out like any time today before today ends, hopefully. The reason why it got delayed was that the initial submission deadline was 19th of September, but we extended that by 3 days. So the deadline was shifted from 19th to 22nd of September. However, our date for declaring the results continue to remain the same. That is 24th. So while we expected a 5-day gap between 19th and 24th, but that has now reduced to a 3-day gap, or rather a couple of days gap. So that's the reason, and I'm sure all of you understand that that's the main reason why why we had to kind of delay it. But we've worked very hard for it, and we've taken a lot of time off, and we've tried to ensure that we get the best entries out. And hopefully by maybe in a couple of hours the result should be out. Yeah, another question that I'm going to take is, sorry. Yeah. Another question that I have in mind, one of you have asked is, this written on the website that you have to submit a 5-page white paper on the proposed solution. Well, that was initially the idea, but I want to clear it through the Hangout and through other means as well, that 5-page white paper will actually have to be submitted at the final hackathon that is going to be held in Novotel with the 1,500 international delegates. So I'm sorry for the confusion that was created because of that. Because the initial idea was to have that 5-page white paper before the pre-hackathon on this weekend. But I know I'm happy to clear this. Nitish Kumar is the one who's asking this question, and I'm happy to answer that. This 5-page white paper on the proposed solution shall not have to be submitted before the pre-hackathon for those people or for those teams who have been selected. So apologies for this confusion.
Where will the results be posted?
Yeah, where's that? This is the question. Okay, there's another question by Siddharth. Sorry, this is by Jitendra Man. What is the criteria for selection of entries? Well, Jitendra and all of you, if you go on the website, www.isb.edu/2015, and you go to the tab of jury, you'll actually get those criteria for selection. So you'll have the criteria mentioned there, which says, relevance of the issue at hand, some percentage of marks for that, prototyping of the solution, some percentage of marks for that, and you have all these percentages adding up to 100. So that's the criteria for selection that that has been actually, charted out in the evaluation sheet that was given to the jury. So that's pretty clear, and you can get that from the website as well. Yeah. So regarding where the results will be out, so the results will be out on the website to the teams or the participants who have been selected. So there will be no email to the teams or participants who have not been selected. So I want to repeat this. The results will be out on the website, the same way all of you have registered and submitted your entries. And an email will also go, an individual email will also go to the team who have been selected, but no email or no communication will be given to teams who have not been selected regarding the results. So that's how, so by and large, most people will get to know it from the website as well.
If there is a hardware involved in the demo,
The teams or the participants who have been selected. So they'll I'll take this question by Shashidhar Danturti. Do we need a demo to working prototype? Well, the idea was pretty clear. We need to have a prototyping idea. So if your prototyping idea is good enough to be selected for the pre-hackathon, then you have our partners like Microsoft and Oracle and other technical people from IIIT as well, who will assist you in developing that demo or the prototype that is required. And I think that should probably answer your question. Yeah. I'll take the I'll take the other questions as we go along. Manoj is my colleague and my co-coordinator for this event at ISB, and he'll be here in a very short while. He's actually busy with the jury process as we speak, but he'll be here very soon to address in detail if there's any detailed IT-related query or technical stuff. Yeah. Um, well, Manasa Rao Gotumukala, I've answered this question before, but I agree there's been some a little bit of confusion regarding the white paper submission, the 5-page white paper submission. But I want to repeat again for the benefit of the viewers who have joined in late that the white paper submission, firstly, is for participants who have been selected, selected for the pre-hackathon and for the final hackathon eventually. And secondly, it is not to be submitted on today. It's actually to be submitted before the final hackathon on or before 6th of October. So, Manashirao, I hope that answers your questions, and because that's a common question and common concern across it. Which Sahir, I'm trying to answer your question on the agenda for the pre-hackathon. We have a proposed agenda for pre-hackathon, but as you would understand, any creative session or any session that requires innovation, whether it is of technology or anything else, requires that there should be free exchange of ideas, and so the idea was not to have a straight jacketed hour by hour approach. So what we have done is that we started with administrative issues in the beginning, say breakfast, registration, and those kind of things, and then there is an inaugural address by probably the commissioner of GHMC, or even if there's a possibility that the IT minister may also come. And post that, there will be a session by Microsoft on their web environment and how things are going to be done. So post 12 p.m. is what we're trying to target. So post 12 p.m. then you'll have the opportunity to engage with your colleagues, with your other teams, with people having similar ideas. And so essentially the whole hackathon is going to be a brainstorming session, a technological brainstorming session, where you'll be assisted by technical experts from Microsoft, from Oracle, from some really technical and smart people from IIIT, even from students from ISB for the managerial and the business part of it. So it's going to be a resourceful activity, and I hope and I'm sure that every participant is going to have a terrific experience. It's going to be a very enriching experience, and I'm sure that we will come out with positive, concrete, feasible ideas or prototypes that we are actually looking for. I'm trying to answer Murudula Duggi's question on that. She's received a mail inviting for Hangout session, and you want to know whether your PPT selected or not. Well, anybody can attend the Hangout session. It is irrespective of the fact that your PPT has been selected or not. It's always a good idea to know how things are going on. So suppose your PPT is maybe if it's not selected, even then you can try and understand how the hackathon works, and maybe if such an event or such an activity is organized in the future, you could possibly be a part of it. So it really doesn't matter whether your PPT is selected or not. You can still be part of this Hangout and get whatever information you want. Manoj, yes. Yeah. Manoj, I'm trying to answer your question. I've answered this anyways beforehand, but I'll repeat for the benefit of the viewers who join in late. Your question is on whether you have to completely build over your own thing, or do we have help? You'll have a lot of help, let me assure you that. And when I say a lot of help, I mean that we have our partners like Microsoft, Oracle, and IIIT, in fact our own team at ISB. So they'll all be there to help you in whatever aspects of your prototyping, or whatever aspects of your presentation, or whatever aspects of your brainstorming that you require help for. So by and large, that's I hope that should answer your question, right? There are some important points as well that are being put on the group chat while I speak. So please do draw your attention towards those. Maybe they'll answer some of your questions. So you need to put them. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm obviously it's going to be a common concern. When my results are due, and therefore I tend to be as nervous or as excited as most of you are. So, as I mentioned earlier during my opening comment, that we had we had to extend our deadline for submission of entries from 19th of September to 22nd of September, but our day for declaration of results continued to remain 24th of September. That was the earlier date, and initially we had a cushion of 5 days, but unfortunately we couldn't get that cushion anymore. So I am sure you understand that, and we're almost at the last stage of the final results being declared, and it should be declared anytime soon now. Maybe sometime today. And I mentioned that it's going to be declared on the website, and individual emails will also be sent to the team who've been selected, but no emails will be sent to the team who have not been selected. I hope that answers your questions. Yeah. Sri Harsha Taneru has asked a very good question. Sri Harsha, your question is on what if our idea is not selected? Can we involve in the hackathon and get to learn? That's a good idea. You can still write to the email ID that you have on this particular thing. At the moment, we don't have an agenda wherein we invite non-selected teams or non-registered, non-selected participants to engage in the pre-hackathon. But we might be willing to consider it on a case-by-case basis or a team-by-team basis, depending on your background and other things that were there. So that's a good question, Sri Harsha, and I would encourage you to write. Probably the idea would be to encourage people with diverse backgrounds in terms of their experience and learning, and maybe they can add some value to the team. So it's going to be really on a case-to-case basis, and from a principal point of view, we would not really like to encourage that on a large or on a mass scale. But yes, if you feel that somebody really has great experience and can add value to the participants in hackathon, then why not? Yeah. Yeah, Raghu Kanchustambam, and apologies if I mispronounce some of your names. I don't belong to South India. So Raghu has put this question on the prototyping, whether the entire prototyping will be at the venue, or whether you can go home and build your code and bring it back to the venue. Is the idea to code at the event? So the idea is not to merely code at the event. Let me put it like that. Of course, you will need to do some sort of coding at the event, and that is why we have a whole team of technical people with us to assist us. But nothing stops you from, because we have the 36-hour hackathon, so therefore it makes more sense to probably go back home in the night, if you will, and probably do some coding and then get it back next morning. Some Eureka that might come in the evening. Eurekas don't have time to come; they just come anytime they want. So I think the idea is to come out with credible, feasible prototypes more than any of these nitty-gritty things like you can just do coding at home, you can do coding here. So I said, for creativity, for innovation, and propagation of ideas, you need to have a very liberal environment, and that is the whole idea or the whole theme beyond by which we are going. Am I audible? Anirudh? Oh, you're not. You're out of it. Okay. Okay. Misala Revant has put a question. It's given in a pre-hackathon event to give a live presentation. Can we prepare another PPT to give a presentation, or should we explain through submitted PPT? Fair question, Misala. I think the way I would put it is that if you want to prepare another PPT, and these questions are valid for those participants who are actually selected. So if you want to put another PPT, the idea should be that it should not be starkly different from what you've already submitted, because you've been selected on the basis of your submission. So you wouldn't want to put another PPT, saying that probably you've been selected on the basis of women's safety and you're trying to put up a PPT on waste management. So that doesn't really make sense. But if you put up a PPT on women's safety, where you want to refine it, maybe polish it a bit, and maybe add a few pointers here and there, so that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So so we'll allow you to have that liberty of presenting your ideas to the other teams at large, provided your idea is a natural progression or a continuation of the entries that you have submitted, and not something radically different. So that's definitely discouraged. We don't want you to be selected on the basis of one area of focus and be presenting something area. And I think that's fair, right? So. I'm answering another question by Prudvi. Prudvi. So Prudvi has asked that he's made a small mistake in registering his team member names, and he's registered for only 2 members, and he has a third person detail. Third person detail was not with him while he was registering. So what can he do now? So Prudvi, and I believe this might be a common question for many of you. So my simple answer is that the idea of a pre-hackathon or a hackathon is to ensure that when you come in here, you come with your idea, and when you go out, you probably take a lot of other ideas with you. So if specifically on the question of not registering your third team member, it is absolutely fine to get your third team member along, provided you give us the details, and probably we'll probably take that on the background on how you missed out and why you missed out. But the idea is probably if you come with 3 people, you can actually go with 4. If somebody is there who's alone, because single contributions were also allowed. So you can actually take the 4th member in case you feel there's a lot of value addition in terms of what the member thinks. There is synergies in what you're speaking, and you can actually work together. There is a complementary skills that the person has. So your question on 2 to 3 is fine. You can bring the third person along, but you should ensure that there's a logical reason to it. I mean, it should not be just out of whims and fancy, right? So we don't want to encourage any sort of we want to be fair to everybody. That's the whole point. You select this one. Or you take and select that. Okay. So this is another question by Sahir Mohammed. He asks whether if the pre-hackathon is mainly for information sharing and brainstorming, then what is criteria of shortlisting the participants pool for the final round? Good question, but a simple one. As I mentioned, the idea of pre-hackathon is to come out with feasible, credible prototyping solutions that you have. If you don't come out with a feasible, credible prototyping solutions, then the jury might not think you are worth enough for being selected for the final round. And the jury for the pre-hackathon, that is, the jury consists of people from Microsoft, Oracle, and other members who are really, really experienced in that field. So I think you shouldn't really worry about that. Who's this? This guy. Harish has asked a question. What will the case if you are not able to reach Hyderabad by this weekend? Harish, I'm not sure. How. I mean, I've taken this question because I'm not sure, because I want to kind of work on it. I don't know where you are writing from. Maybe you're not writing from Hyderabad. The initial idea was to encourage participation from local people, only because we thought that local people will have more in-depth idea about local issues, about local urban problems. Not to say that people in Calcutta or Delhi won't have ideas about their problem, but since it is targeted the city, of Hyderabad at the moment, so therefore the idea was to ensure that local will come. So I mean, honestly, if you get selected, then probably you should find a way of reaching Hyderabad and reaching the pre-hackathon. And I'm sure you definitely not want to miss that event. Take this. I'm trying to answer a question by Nitin. Nitin has asked how many teams have been shortlisted now, and where will the results be posted on the website or the social networking page of yours? Good. Um, uh, the results will be posted soon, as I mentioned, and I'll mention this again, and I'm mentioning this again and again. I'm trying to answer the same question again and again, only because I believe that's the real concern about most of us. As I, 19th was the initial deadline for submitting your entries, which was extended by 3 days to 22nd. But the deadline for the results was kept 24th. So the initial cushion of, initial cushion of uh, how many days? Sorry, initial cushion of 5 days was reduced to 2 days, and as a result, we've spent a lot of time since the last couple of days trying to take out the results. We're hoping to take out the results by tonight. If not, then definitely by tomorrow, because then obviously we won't have time. So we're going to do that as soon as possible, and trust us, we are working really, really hard towards it. Put that up. Sujit99 has asked a question on that he has seen on the website regarding tickets for the event. Where do we get the tickets for the entry? Well, Sujit, I haven't seen anything like that, and I'm kind of surprised that you have seen something like this on the website talking about tickets. This pre-hackathon event at ISP is the event only for selected participants, and there's going to be no tickets for it. The only ticket is that you have to submit your entries on time, and the jury thinks your entry is worth coming to the pre-hackathon, then it will come to the pre-hackathon. So that's the ticket, and where you get it by writing your PPT and sending in your prototyping idea. So that's the ticket I know of, and if you know of anything else, then please do email us, and we'll look into this there. No, why do no, this was something interesting. So a long one. I hope you don't mind me drinking something while speaking there. So you guys, I know you're looking on the call, right? They're looking at me. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is by this one. Yeah. So I'm now answering a question by Pranay Bhardwaj. Pranay has asked, what are the major things which will be covered in the pre-hackathon, and is it compulsory to attend on 27th, 28th, or we can attend in any day out of these two? Actually, my team is Delhi-based and concerned about ticket bookings. Okay. Well, Pranay, I'm really, really glad that people outside of Hyderabad have also participated, and I know that people from Iran and Spain have also put in their entries. So and as coordinators for this event, and as organizers, and as a party to the entire principle of bringing in local solutions, I'm really glad that people from outside Hyderabad are also taking interest. But having said that, the whole and I mentioned this in my earlier comment as well, that the idea was to get local people, because they understand in depth about local problems at Hyderabad. They would know, for example, what are the problems, say in the Banjara Hill Road, or what are the problem in the Era Manzil Road, or some electricity problems, or some sort of women safety problems, or the lake, the Hussain Sagar lake protection, and those kind of things. But having said that, we are more than welcome to, if your PPT gets selected, if your idea gets selected for the final, for the hackathon, the pre-hackathon on the weekend, then I would really request you and urge you to somehow make it, because it's an event that you really, really don't want to miss, because we've ensured our level best in trying to get experts from Microsoft, Oracle, Triple IT, and including ISB. And there's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of participants, and it's going to be a very, very enriching session. So good luck to you on that. You pick up item questions. I'll just step out for a while, and my colleague Manoj, and who you can just see on the screen wearing a very checkered T-shirt, he's always young and dynamic. So he now answer your question is what I meant, and anything that you want to talk about prototyping ideas and anything else. Yeah. So,
Just give me 1 minute. I'm just trying to understand how this is working here. All right. Okay.
So you tell her which questions you want to put out, and then you answer the question, and let's discuss. Yeah, you can try to decide. If you can answer it, put it up, and then put it up. Like this guy's name is coming. I'll say some more.
So do I get to see the question here as well? So the question I have here is, what will be the structure and content of the technical solution? Will it be defined template from ISB, or individuals can submit based on individual understanding? So if this is regarding the online submission, I just want to caution that the deadline is already over. But otherwise, the details of the format of the submission is online. For the pre-hackathon, it is you come up with a 3 to 4 page write-up. You have already submitted your PPT, but it's essential that you come with a 3 to 4 page write-up on what your idea is, rather than more than what your idea is about how you plan to implement it. So that is what we would be expecting when you come down on 27th and 28th for the pre-hackathon. For the PPT, I guess the deadline is already over, so I wouldn't spend more time on discussing the format of the online submissions. The second question is, in the pre-hackathon, do we have to select? Do you have to come up with another PPT? So for the pre-hackathon, you should be ready to come and implement your idea, prototype the idea. So Microsoft people are going to give the IT platform that is needed for prototyping. It's essentially going to be a mobile platform or Azure cloud platform, on which we'll also give individual accounts to log in. Microsoft is going to conduct a 2-hour session on how to use their platform and implement internet and web-based ideas. So you get close to 24 hours your idea, and at the end of implementing your prototype, you're again going to create a small presentation, 4 to 5 slides, on how successful you were in prototyping your idea, the output, few screenshots of your output, and you're going to you're going to make the presentation of your prototype. It might also be that some of the jury might actually want to get a hands-on on what you have implemented, so you should also be able to show the prototype, running prototype, execute the prototype and show it. But you might have to come up with 3 to 4 slides of presentation after you prototype your idea. If hardware is required to implement any of your ideas, what do we do? So the first thing is, we expect that every team comes with 1 laptop at least. ISB being more of a managerial and business school, we are a little short on providing you laptops here. We expect every team comes with a laptop. There might be some alternate arrangements that could be possible, but it's in the best interest to get your laptops. And then all the software platform will be provided by Microsoft. As for the hardware, say some of you need a processor, you need a RFID reader or something like that. It would be tough to provide such resources here during the pre-hackathon. But I would say, if you can create a prototype which simulates the working of the hardware. You don't really have to implement the logic inside the hardware. You don't have to implement the logic, the design logic, and anything that's inside the hardware. But if you can simulate the inputs and outputs of the hardware and integrate it with your prototype, that should be sufficient for going past the prototype round. Yes, one of the question is, can you implement the prototype before coming to the pre-hackathon? We would encourage you, in fact, we would encourage you to have the prototype ready if you can by the time you come to pre-hackathon. So if you can implement half of it there, come here, continue it, you need help from, there would be technical people who are well versed with Microsoft platforms and cloud-based platforms to help you out, implement the ideas. But if you can implement a part of it already, you're welcome to do so, and we in fact encourage you to do that. Is the pre-hackathon event only a brainstorming? The online submissions was essentially a brainstorming session. Pre-hackathon is a prototyping session of the brainstormed ideas, the selected ideas from the brainstorming session that we have already done. And the brainstorming session was stage 1. However, if you want more brainstorming, build your idea. We are trying to team up with top engineering other institutions. So students from there would be also be available. And if you want to team up with anybody from ISB or IIIT or IIT Hyderabad or any other good engineering college or any student who can give you more information, you can tie up with them, brainstorm. But at the end of the day, we expect a working prototype. The prototype doesn't have to each and every aspect and feature of what you propose, but give a glimpse into what are the capabilities and of your idea. So some ideas that we have seen are prototype. A part of it can be prototype. The other part is essentially manual stuff where you need to build an organization. You need to build a network of people to effectively implement it. So in that case, the prototype would involve implementing the technology part of it, and then your presentation. It depends on how well you present the other aspect of your idea, the manual part or networking with different people or any other resources that you might need that's not technical. So that you should handle. You should present it in a convincing way to the jury here. And I guess really be a problem as long as you have the technical part prototyped. No. So that's a good question. So some of you have a question. If you have to submit the same PPT. No, you don't submit the same PPT when you come for pre-hackathon, because the current PPTs that have been submitted basically the outline of the idea, the outline of the issue that you're fixing, and the outline of the solution. At the end of pre-hackathon, the output of the prototype is what matters, the quality of the prototype and how effective the prototype would be. So the pre-hackathon essentially captures the output of your prototype, how successful you were in prototyping. So it is not the same PPT as you have already submitted in the online submission. Things to be carried. From the technical perspective, you should carry a laptop, at least one laptop per team. As I earlier said, ISB will not be providing laptops or desktops for your prototyping. So make your plans, get a laptop. Most of I've seen are students from different institutes. I'm sure your institutes would be able to help you in that. So get your own laptops. Other than that, you don't need to get anything else. Food is provided here. There'll be enough snacks and coffee or tea or milk that if you want any other snack. There'll be breakfast. There'll be lunch. There'll be dinner.
Both days.
Both the days, and there'll be snacks all time available. So you don't need to carry food with you to get your laptops.
Okay. So he's asking that he has provided mentor support and whether he can.
Sure.
This question I actually answered before, but the same thing I want to repeat again. So there have been somebody who's provided mentor, or there's somebody who wants to come along, or somebody missed their names. You're free to bring, but this will be done only on a case-by-case basis. You have to write to us individually if your teams get selected, and based on what your expression of interest is and how you've been able to mentor them, probably we'll be able to get you. But per se, we don't have a principle wherein we encourage mentors and other things right away to come, because we anyways have a lot of technical people here. But on a case-to-case basis, if your team gets selected, then you would write to us on email, and we'll probably take up that. Manoj, you want to add a point?
Yeah. So the team size was 3, maximum team size. So if you have a mentor, on case-by-case basis, we'll approve it, and you can get 1 mentor. So a maximum of 4 people. But teams that don't have a mentor, we discourage you from bringing anybody else other than what is mentioned in your team. I'm just waiting to see if there are more questions. Sure. Do you have to build the technological solution all by yourself? Yes, you will have to build it by yourself, but there will be technical support from Microsoft. Since we are planning to, since there would be a lot of teams that would be prototyping, and few Microsoft resources that can help you technically with their platform. I would say it would close to 80% of work is your responsibility to prototype it. You can, however, team up with other people who come here for the pre-hackathon with technical background. You can solicit their help. If you want, you can also team. Or if you really think there's somebody who can help you with developing and is not mentioned in your team name in the group, do write to us. Again, that would be approved on a case-by-case basis. If your ideas have taken, include anything that is a third party, that if your idea builds on somebody else's ownership, what do you need to do? I would say you have to explicitly provide the source of your idea, source of your inspiration, or what part of your idea has been, is from a third party. You have to make it absolutely available and open. Any violations would mean that the team gets disqualified. So if your idea is building up on a third-party solution, you have to explicitly state who the third party is and what part is owned by the third party. Otherwise, your team would be disqualified. What do you need to do if your team gets selected? I already mentioned it. First thing, you need to come down here. You have to come down on 27th and 28th. Second, get a 3-page write-up on your plan to prototype it. How do you want to prototype? What are the resources you need to prototype? Technical resources, an outline. It's basically, if you're a software engineer, you would come up with a design on what you're going to implement. So it's going to be a small design document. But it's going to be informal. You have to make it a very formal design document. Yeah. It is something that is going to help you understand what you want to do on the 2 days that you're here. It's not for anybody else to read and grade you. It's for your own help. So it doesn't have to be really professional, or there are no guidelines on what has to be there in the 3-page write-up. So, yeah, this is the white paper that I'm talking about that is mentioned on the website. The white paper is nothing but a small design document that is going to help you prototype your idea in the 2 days that you come to ISB.
Yeah, I mentioned this in my comment earlier as well, friends. I mentioned that the white paper is essentially more your own, for your own purpose, and it could probably be more used in the final hackathon on 6th of October. But for this pre-hackathon, you would want to use it more as a reference for yourself in trying to explain your ideas to others. It's not a formal requirement from us. The idea, as I said, the environment of pre-hackathon has to be very liberating. It has to be liberal. And if I straitjacket things that I want this, I want that, then obviously it's going to hurt the idea. So that's not the idea at all. So get the 3-page if you want to. Good for you. But formally, we don't require it. We would need it in the final hackathon, but that is at the moment not really a concern. So that should be probably answer your question. All right.
So there's another question that says, do we have to implement it on Microsoft platforms? We have already started it implementing on other platforms like Android, or using Amazon Cloud, or using PhoneGap. So ISB will provide you a high-speed internet connection So if you can, if that is all what you need, and if your laptops already have all the necessary things to implement your idea, if you can connect to Amazon Cloud, you have the necessary development environment on your laptop, then you're free to develop your prototype on any platform that you think you're good at. But people, the teams that don't already have any such experience developing it, ISB would be providing a Microsoft platform. Microsoft is partnering to help such teams. So in a short, the short answer is Microsoft platform is not absolutely necessary. If you're working on any other platform, you can. ISB will provide you an high-speed internet to connect to those platforms and work with them.
Yeah. So I think that is about it, friends. Really appreciate you all of you joining in here, and the last 60 minutes or so, very interesting in probably answering your questions, and I'm sure it's enriching and it answers your questions. It answers your questions in a very detailed manner. And if there are any unanswered questions that you might have, then we'd probably answer that over email. Yeah, but really, thanks a lot, and I hope this hangout was of some use to all of you. We are eagerly awaiting to announce the results as much as you are awaiting, but it has to go through a number of jury members before it's finally announced. We'll try to do it by end of day today. End of day is hardly 4 hours from now. But in case we can't do it today, then eventually we'll do it sometime tomorrow morning. Thank you for joining, all of you. Good night from me and Manoj.
And we wish you all the best.
Absolutely.
And make sure that you're also present on October 6th at the main hackathon event.